Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Good afternoon, and I hope and I pray that all is well with you. I am doing well in this very hot Southern California. I think we are like 104 degrees today. Uh, it's extremely hot, but such is life. So, uh, thank God we have AC. So, if you hear noise in the background, I'll turn on the AC because it's unbearable. Oh, so I wanted to talk to you today about uh, gender roles. That's a very touchy subject nowadays. Uh, in my head, if I go back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, uh, and if someone told me back then that we can have 36 different genders, I would have said, why? Uh, and yet, as time goes by, we see where we are today. It's a very interesting thing. I'm a minister of the gospel, so I'll go back to the Bible, which is our how-to book. Everything, I live my life according to the word. I cannot uh, separate the word from my life. So the Bible is telling us that God created Adam and Eve, and you might not agree with me. I respect that, but this is my opinion, it's my channel, so I'm saying what I know, I'm saying what I think. God created Adam and then he created Eve from Adam's rib. I believe that might be cheesy for some, but to me it is the truth, and I'm in agreement with that truth. So, men are wired differently and women are different. Um, if I go, my parents were married for 30 some years, and 37. Anyway, when I look at myself, what my father is imparted into me and my mother also, they each gave what they had according to their gender, according to their roles, creative roles and capacities. And that's what made me a whole human being. So we need fathers, we need mothers. We do. I would say this until my dying day. Um, that's where balance comes from. That's where foundation comes from. When you have a father and you have a mother, and you learn how to deal with men with your dad, and you learn how to deal with women with your mother. So I learned a lot. I know how men think because I had five brothers and all alpha male, very strong personalities, and sometimes I felt like I had to compete in order for me to have my voice heard. But that was so good because I learned how to have my way. So I knew which one will cave in and give me what I want if I start crying up. And believe I can cry on a cue. I don't have a problem with that. I should go to Hollywood. And so I will know when to cry to attract attention and mercy, and they will give me what I want. And I knew with which one how to fight, how to really fight and be confrontational. So I learned how to do all that, and I learned how to use my charm as a woman. Believe me, we have so much power as women. I wish I could open a class and teach to women how to be feminine and yet to get everything that you want. And not in a manipulative, conniving, witchcraft way. No, just a normal female um, under the power of God. And that's a God given power. It's there. And men have their God given power. It's there. So we have this spirit. When we go back to the Garden of Eden, when God speaks to Adam and Eve and he blesses them and he releases them to go subdue, multiply, and He's talking to a man and a female. That function of administration was given, it's an assignment given to male and female. So there is no competition between male and female. No competition, and no gender is better than the other. We were meant, we were purposed to complement each other, and that was God's plan. And I am not married. I am divorced, but I saw my parents being married for 37 years, like I told you, and they were very happy. I know what a good marriage is and what it produces. It's another kind of, in today's term, we'll say vibe. It's another kind of energy. It's another kind of strength and power. It's a centering strength when a male and a female are together and in agreement in a marriage. So my mother never had a job. She was a traditional stay-at-home mom, which was really good because she was there and very watchful, very watchful. She was running the house like a drill sergeant, and I'm running my life the same way. I do things with a schedule. I do things because that's what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And don't ask me to come back in 4 hours to do that, because that's not the time. So I was raised that way, and that sense of discipline, that sense of commitment, you give your word, you do it. It comes from there. So now, today, you can have a husband that can help his wife, like since couples are working, it's not rare to find a household where the father has a job, the mother has a job. It's not rare. So the mother might be tired after work. So if the father says, I'm going to help you do the laundry, I'm going to put the clothes in the machine, there's nothing wrong with that. I do have a problem when now the mother says, I cooked on Monday, you cook on Tuesday. I did the laundry on Friday, you are going to mop the floor. Then I have a problem, because we have roles and they are very specific. And the problem doesn't lie with us men, but with spirit. We have this kind of spirit that is a spirit of this age. That spirit was not here 30, 40 years ago. It's a spirit that is very domineering and competitive. And it's a spirit that wants to emasculate men and bring them down and put women back up, put women on top. It's a spirit that wants to pervert God's ways. God said men leads and female are helpmeet. That's what the Bible says, and that's what I believe. So you have, I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on Instagram. You will see, I was watching this man laying down in bed with his baby and say, I'm taking care of the baby. I think the mother was out. And the baby was trying to nurse, but he's a man. I see fathers playing with their daughters, and they are doing, putting nail polish on their father, putting a crown on their father. You have a spirit that is here to emasculate men, and the spirit means business. It's a bully spirit, very vindicative, very stubborn spirit that wants to get its way. And that spirit, when they come, they usually come because of witchcraft. There must be some kind of divination there. By witchcraft, I mean occult. It could be occult activities, any kind of occult activities, or divination like we have it traditionally on the continent of Africa. So you have, that spirit follows that, and when that spirit comes, it's a spirit of Jezebel. That spirit wants to take over and bring the men down. And when the spirit comes, by way of tears, manipulation, domination, or just bickering, like arguing to the point that men don't like to argue. Women, we can go on for 2 hours, 3 hours, and just raise our voices, but men are not like that, typical men. So that spirit wants to take over, and It's a spirit that is very dangerous, and that's the spirit of this age. That's the spirit that is behind confusion. That's the spirit that wants to bring men down. That's the spirit that is calling toxic masculinity. Men are not toxic. We need men. We need alpha men. We need men that are go-getters. We need men that are leaders. We need men that are providers, are protectors, and we need men. So that spirit doesn't want men to be men, but wants women to take over. So it's okay to tell men you are toxic. And now there is a term, toxic masculinity. 10 years ago, I didn't know what that meant, but now I hear it, I see it in the news, I see it in magazines. And it's almost as if we want to make men feel bad for being men and for being what they are, but they are men. That's how God created them. And if we turn back, we look in our past, where we come from, our history, the world history, regardless of the continent, we did pretty well with men. I mean, to me, I don't have any problem with that. So we need men to be men and female to be female, and that's how we are going to have a cohesive life and peace, and that's how we are going to be able to have children. Anyway, we need men to give their genetic material so we can produce babies. So the father gives what he has, the mother gives what she has, and that's how the conception will come about. So we need to be careful, because I see many women are driven by that spirit and what they want to dominate the husband or the boyfriend or mate, bring him down so that they will take over. And that's not the right spirit, because when you do that, when you subdue your husband, then the children, everything will fall out of order, because the head is not right, everything else will not be right. And you might disagree with me, but that's how it is. So because of that witchcraft thing, divination thing, that spirit really loves that. Then when that spirit comes in a household, the spirit will come and dwell with you and will make men soft, men will be effeminate and quiet, and they don't talk, and they just say yes, yes, yes to everything that the mother says, and the mother becomes the head of the household, becomes the father. And that's not right. That's not right, because consequences are there, they are visible. We might not want to recognize that we have this problem because of this is the root cause, but that's how it is. And so men were created to be leaders. That's how it is. Like it or not, but that's how it is. So, gender wars, we need to be careful. We need to be careful. We need to, it really bothers me when I see men with nail polish, men with piercings everywhere. And I'm puzzled, because once you start one piercing, it's very hard to stop, to have only one. The same goes with tattoos. When you have one, it's very hard to have only one. But all those, if you start putting them together, it's like a layer. And that's what makes this society of ours today messed up. We are messed up. Collectively, we are messed up. We need to bear responsibilities of our actions. And we need to know that if we are messed up, then what are we doing to the coming generation? What example are we setting for the coming ones, for the young ones? So we need to be careful. This is just the introduction about gender role. I'm pretty sure that we are going to have many more, because I'm not happy. That spirit is really taking over, and the problem is, we are not enemies. Once you're married and you are husband and wife, you are partners in life. You come together to create a family. But the thing is, that spirit cannot coexist into that setting. The spirit wants to flip God's order. So men will be at the bottom and female on top, and that's the problem. That's the problem that I have. And And the church is not addressing that. I'm really bothered by that. We need to talk about it. We need to uh, compartments. It bothers me to see when I compare, like the Nation of Islam, they teach to their men how to be men. It's beautiful when you have a man who is aware that he's a man, without ambiguity, and is attracted to women. It's really beautiful and refreshing. But the Christian side is becoming softer, and I don't like that. I think it's because we have many worship leaders that are female, and they are bringing the femininity. I know women, when we start worshiping, I mean, I can see myself. You should see me at 2 or 3 a.m. You will not believe that I can roll like that on the floor and flip. But I do. But I do that at home, not in a church, because in church we have men also. So we need to be mindful of them and have a neutral kind of worship. And because we don't want men to feel excluded and say, oh, the church is only for female and not for men. Men are not welcome. And so I wish Pastor could talk more about that, more about, you know, reinforcing men in their masculinity. We need men that are men that are masculine, men that are go-getters. We need them. We need them. Because we have younger boys, so they need to have a role model, someone to look up to, someone to emulate, and say, I want to be like that, I want to be like that. I raised my son alone from the age of 7. There are things that I stopped doing, things that I really love to enjoy, I used to love and enjoy. I'd go in my bedroom, close the door, do my scrubbing, everything that is overtly feminine, because I didn't want him to learn how to love it. I didn't want him to learn how to be like that. I didn't want him to imitate me. I would tell him, no, I'm sitting like this because I'm a female. You're a man, sit like a man, talk like a man, move like a man. Oh, now you should see him, so I need to turn him down and say, okay, thank you. But I rather have that than to have someone who is effeminate. So, that's what I wanted to tell you today. The spirit of this age that want to emasculate men. We need to be careful. We need to be mindful. And we need to know that there's nothing wrong with a patriarchal society. God is a male, and is my father, and men are men, and I don't have any problem with that. If something is working, why try to fix it? It's working, why fix it? Thank you very much. Oh no.